the 1960s. Segregation is about to come to a head. Black people still couldn't find jobs at white businesses, and white businesses wouldn't serve them. At some points in time, it got violent. Demonstrations went on. People had to be removed. People rioted because they didn't agree with desegregation. But Mayor John Duncan was hard at work trying to make things work between the black and the white communities in Knoxville, Tennessee. Mayor John Duncan Sr. was given much credit for the work that he did between the black and the white communities, because without him, things may have not went as smooth. Clinton City Schools were one of the first schools in the South to desegregate. School life was different for a white student and an African American student.
The whole emphasis of education during the 60s was, I felt more or less like the schools were not top-notch. The books were not top-notch. They were always hand-me-down books from the white schools. And I remember teachers were saying, oh, we're getting ready to get some new books, and I want you to be able to take care of them. Do not write in them anything, because these are books we never had before. And we were really expecting new books. But when the books arrived, we realized they were just hand-me-down books from the white schools, because it was the white students, the white schools, that got the new books and not us.
Sit-in started around June 1960. People that weren't welcome to eat came in and sat and demanded service and would not leave in a protest.
Every eating establishment here in Knoxville was that way at that particular time. Was segregated. All of them. I can name Cresses for one of them. Cresses was a 5 and 10 cent store. Now we would go to the top, just sit down at the top, but they would pass us by. They would ignore us and serve the white man. And in order for us to eat, if we wanted to eat, it would be downstairs. We had to go downstairs to that lunch counter. But at the top, it was for whites, and they wouldn't let us in. They wouldn't let us, I mean, we could sit down peacefully. They let us sit down. But as far as waiting on us, they didn't wait on us. Grant. W.T. Grant was another one. There was S&S Cafeteria, which is really, the building is really actually still on Gate Street right now. But S&S Cafeteria was another one. We couldn't go to S&S.
Though people needed work, finding a job was not the easiest thing to do. Coming through the door, you were frowned upon, all because of the skin color.
It was rough trying to get a job. I have tried to pursue several jobs, and every time I would, they would turn you down. They would, they might, some of them may take your application and some of them wouldn't. But then too, if they did take your application, the only thing they would be doing is you walk out the door, they would put it in the trash can. And you can keep calling and calling and calling, back on that job, because to let them know that you are interested in being hired there. But it didn't do no good. So I just really gave up on trying to, look at it further.
Like all other businesses, even the hospitals were segregated. They had separate wings for white people and African Americans.
At the hospital for blacks, well, they were for whites too, but it was called the Old Knoxville General Hospital, and it's where Serene Manor is, the nursing home. I think it's on Dameron Avenue. The whites had the rooms that they had rooms to themselves, but the blacks were in a different section in the hospital, and they had to be put two to a room. and we didn't get the best treatment or anything. It was like, oh, you're gonna be okay. If you had a cold, if you had a baby, whatever, it was not the same care. I always wished at one point in time just to get the care or get the respect that perhaps.
Although Knoxville wasn't as bad as some other cities in the South, white businesses still didn't allow African Americans. In light of all the separation, young African Americans still had to find some way to entertain themselves. African Americans would be arrested if they were to attempt to attend a movie at the Tennessee Theater.
We had our own theater show called the Gym Theater, which we would call going on top of the hill, which was Western Avenue, off of Western Avenue. We had our own black theater, and they just went there for where we could find a little bit of enjoyment. We would go to the movie theaters.
Knoxville's Black Business District was located on Vine Avenue. There were other black-owned businesses scattered out amongst Knoxville.
Called the Royal Sundry, which was located on University Avenue, and there was also a restaurant called Amy's Cafe. It was located on same University Avenue, really right side by side. And then we had a drugstore called Graves Drugstore, which was on the corner of College and University Avenue. And she had a lunch counter there too, and she was right there, like I said, right there at University and College Street.
In May 1960, Martin Luther King Jr. came to speak at the commencement for Knoxville College. And when he came to speak, there was a decent crowd.
I didn't get to see him as far as being one-on-one, but I did see him off distance. And I did see that much. I mean, the crowd it was a tremendous crowd. People came from everywhere to see Dr. Martin Luther King because he was speaking at the graduation commencement class. But I don't quite remember exactly what he spoke about. I don't quite, but I'm quite sure, knowing him, he was speaking on desegregation or segregation. Well, either way, trying to get us trying to get us all hand in hand with each other.
But white people that believed in separation wouldn't go easy. They would pour things like coffee and sugar on people participating in sit-ins. But Martin Luther King continued to march for equality and the right to vote. Though segregation was lawfully done away with, and through the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Movement, we have a minority president, segregation can still be seen and felt from the school lessons that they teach.
Segregation still exists because some of the questions that some black kids in class ask our teachers, they kind of go around it, they don't answer it straightforward or try to make up an excuse for why people did what they did, with segregation and slaves and stuff like that. Anyways, but most teachers don't do that, but some do. They talk about more slavery, but some do talk about what we did that was good. And yes, I like to know more about what black people have been in, stuff like that, because we can learn a lot about our history and our past.
Though we are some 50 plus years past segregation, there is still a mental separation between some white people and African Americans. Some still feel that they are more superior than an African American. You still deal with stereotypes.
Sometimes at school, people ask me, oh, do you have a gun under your bed or something like that? Or do y'all like fried chicken and Kool-Aid and stuff like that? And then this one dude said, oh, the reason black people's palms was lighter than their skin color is because they had their hands up against the wall when they was getting spray painted. Yeah, because you know how you can feel like somebody's in the room and you're not looking? That's how you could feel like someone's next to you. You like, I feel that that person doesn't like me, and I feel different from them, and like they think they're better than me. Because the way they act towards other people, when you see them acting around different people, how they treat their white friends differently and from their black friends. Yes, sometimes when you can just feel it when they, the way they talk to you, if they don't want to hang around, they don't want to hang around you.
In July 1960, 5 stores on Gay Street desegregated. All other businesses complied with desegregation around August 1963. The question was posed, do you feel that young African Americans are taking advantage of the system that is in place now?
Some may, some might not. I want to see better, like more and more, not talking about black people in a bad way. You don't hear much about, you don't have to hear a lot like that no more. I think they just take advantage of it because a lot of people gave up their life and stuff like that and had a lot of struggles, and they should appreciate it and take it to heart and be like, okay, so and so did this to give me an opportunity to be successful in life and not have to deal with racism as much as they did on that entire level that they did. So I should be able to at least try to be successful in life.
I do not feel that the African American today is taking advantage of the opportunities that they have presented to them as it was with me in my time. I feel like they don't really even understand what is afforded to them. I don't feel like they are really applying themselves. I noticed that, of course, that doesn't apply to everyone because they won't go to service because we won't be respected when we come back, which is probably true. I don't want to go to work because I can't stand to be on a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I think they really are. I think they're going. It could be. It's a few, but it'd be good if it was more than what it is now.
So you see, Knoxville has come a long way. And though it didn't get all crazy like it did in other parts of the South, Knoxville still had its own issues to deal with. And they were handled, thanks to honest and earnest effort. Not all white Americans agreed with segregation, and they too marched with people like Martin Luther King. All we can do is move on and hope that things like this will not occur in the future. Thank you